everybody, this is Dave with DII. Thanks for tuning in today on YouTube. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Obviously, on the right-hand side below this little screen that you're watching right now, red letters that say subscribe if you haven't already. If you can subscribe to our channel. And if you haven't subscribed or liked our Facebook page, drift over to our Facebook page one of these days. It's at Dave's Island Instruments on Facebook. So just look up Dave's Island Instruments and like us on Facebook, because we do lots of announcements there and all sorts of fun stuff. So like this YouTube show that we're doing today would have been announced there. And so yeah, like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. So thanks again for joining us. Like I said, I'm Dave. I'm the owner of Dave's Island Instruments. We make handpans. I make handpans and we sell the handpans here. I've been doing it for about 10 years as a business. I've been making steel instruments like this. I started making steel drums almost 30 years ago. So I started making steel in 1991 or so. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm really proud to be here with you still today, continuing to do all this fun stuff and making music for the world. So I'm really excited that we're here, and I'm glad you tuned in. Last week, we had a special show. Actually, it was on Monday. It was the Cyber Monday show. Daniel and I were talking about all sorts of fun stuff here, that the products that we have to offer. And we had a couple different, little games and were playing with us. And so we wanted to announce some of those winners. Let me see if my audio is... Daniel, are you there? I'm not hearing you.
I'm on.
There you are.
I was just muted. Hold on, here I will join you. Boom. Hello,
hey,
everybody.
There he is. There's Daniel. Oh, wow. Nice ears, man.
I'm the reindeer. You're the Santa. So
yeah,
you're hard at work in the shop.
Right, yeah, before we make the announcement, just really quick, for anybody that's tuning in that doesn't know why we're here, I'm going to be talking about the handpan today and how to play it and do all sorts of little technique ideas, that sort of thing. It's our traditional handpan class. We do it. We've been doing all sorts of interviews recently, lately, that have to do with handpan and people that are in the community as also. But anyway, so today we're going to talk with Daniel really quickly here, because on Monday we had a show and we had some giveaways and that sort of thing. So we want to announce the winners. All right, yes. Daniel, what do you think? Hey. What do we got?
Oh, first of all, let's check out the red ukulele. Do you have that right there with you?
Oh, yeah, red ukulele right here.
And I need my redhead to come and help me here real quick. So basically, we had people comment red ukulele in the Cyber Monday, and there are a few entries in here, so they're going to get this beautiful red ukulele right here.
That's right.
And it's over here.
It looks a little orange on screen, but...
And I have
red.
Vanna White coming over.
No.
Oh, she's not coming over. She's going to pick right here. Dun, dun,
oh,
dun.
Wow.
Wait, you got to see. You got to see her hand in there. See, she's not cheating.
Yeah, I see it.
She's not cheating.
Okay.
And she can announce the winner.
Right here.
Johanna Brand here.
Oh, all right. Here we go. And it is Chris Stanton. Chris Stanton.
All right, Chris Stanton.
Hopefully you're listening, Chris Stanton, because I need to get your emails, or you need to email us your address so we can ship you that brand new red ukulele. So congratulations, that's awesome. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna segue into ukulele stuff a little bit. I know this is a handpan class, but if you guys do play ukulele, I am extending our Wednesday social to every Wednesday now. Last Wednesday, our group wanted to get more practice, so basically we're doing every Wednesday now. So, and I think it's going to be cool in these times. Right now I know everybody's on kind of lockdown, so it's kind of cool to get together on Zoom, and hopefully I have something for you guys to do every week, and we can join each other, so it's awesome. All right, cool.
Yep.
After that is we had right behind Dave is our fabulous new stand, right. And we
called it the tall stand earlier, right? Because it's taller than the others, but
yeah. What was it? Your initial thought, Dave, was tall stand. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. The original was just this tall stand because it's taller than the other stands we have.
Right.
But we had to come up with a better name, right? And so we asked the audience on Monday for their ideas, and whoever the winner is for the idea of the name for the stand that's more inventive than the word tall. they were going to win this stand right here. So we're going to talk about who today, right? So
Yes,
the name that
absolutely.
what were the top names that we came up? Some people came up
Well,
with.
here we go. Okay, this is all the entries into the stand, and I want to appreciate everybody that commented and gave us some cool stuff, because please give us your email, because for these people, because you will also get a shirt if we have enough. Is that correct? So
Oh yeah.
we'll talk.
Not
We
sure
have a
about sizing.
consolation prizes for this awesome for helping us name the stand. So we're going to start with Gary Katori, had Stand Up Stand. Chris Stanton, that just won the ukulele, had Island Breeze Stand. Maeda 1224 is Sunrise Stand. Melly K, the Grand Stand. Henry Thompson, the Overgrown Stand. He had 2 entries, the Overgrown Stand and the Altitude Stand. Charles Payne had the Elevator, and then EQ, the Elevation. Okay? And Dave, maybe give us a drum roll, please.
Well, just first of all, I thought several of those were really great ideas, and I hadn't even considered some of those names, and I thought, wow, that was a really cool name. So I'm glad we did this because I think we're coming up with a better name than I would have given it.
Yeah.
My top 3, I think, were Altitude, Elevation, and Grandstand. What were
Wow.
your top 3?
I like the Grandstand, Sunrise Stand, and Elevation. Elevation.
Yeah. So it turns out that I think Ricky's going to be the winner because he's the one who suggested Elevation Stand.
There we go. Big winner. Ricky
There's
EQ gets
Ricky
that
EQ.
beautiful. Hopefully he has a handpan to go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Does not come with handpan. Sorry.
Right. That's a good point.
So, Ricky EQ, please email us, or I'll try to find a way to get a hold of you so we can get your shipping information. And you are you're going down in history. We're going to be calling this stand the Elevation. So, thank you very much, and we appreciate it. So that's why we're going to send you a brand new stand. So we have to find a way to etch it in there or something like that for him.
Right. Maybe, yeah, we could put his name in there. That'd be
Rick EQ, the Elevation Stand. That'd be pretty
that's a good
cool
idea.
Yeah. So we'll do something cool for you. So Ricky, thank you very much. We appreciate everybody, honestly. Right now, like we were saying, we're just building a cool little music family with handpans, ukuleles, and just anybody. You know what? It's all about music, and that's what we love to do here. So. And we do have entries for like merch. Gary Gatori, congratulations.
That's right, we had some merch.
Henry Thompson.
We've got these t-shirts here with the t-shirts.
Laura I can't say her name. It's like Italian. Fansalucci. Actually, she came in the other day, bought a ukulele. I forgot she was on the thing, and we got some cool DI merch Dave is showing. So. Stay tuned. And that was a great show. Going into next year, we're going to be doing some cool stuff like this all the time. And we love working with our clients this way, and it's fun, and it's super fun. And we love to share.
Super easy for the customers. Super easy for customers too, because what were the requirements? They had to subscribe, and they had to comment. Those are difficult.
And I love the comments. I love everybody's comments. They're so awesome. So keep it coming.
Yeah, I know. Lots of fun.
Keep on watching. All right. So I think that's it for me. And I will leave you with Dave. And here we go.
Right on. Okay, Daniel, thank you very much.
Oh, I'm out.
All right, everybody. So once again, I'm David, owner of Dave's Island Instruments, and I make the handpans that we sell here. And I just want to give you a quick rundown of the history of why we have these classes, and if you haven't tuned in before, so that way you know what's going on. Here at the store in Lakewood, California, it's in Southern California, we had a tradition already offering free handpan classes at the store for about a year before the COVID restrictions came into play. And people would show up, and we would have a lot of fun here at the store, and we usually had multiple handpans on hand for people to explore and practice on. And I would lead the class, or sometimes Daniel would lead the class. And it was basically showing people what the handpan is. A lot of people have never touched a handpan before in their life, so they were very interested in how it felt and how they could make the sounds from the instrument. And so it was really successful. Enjoyed it. Sometimes it was just a couple people. Sometimes it was 10 or 12 people who would show up to these classes, and it was a really lot of fun getting to know everybody and that sort of thing. We also had rentals available, so sometimes people would rent a handpan on their way out the door. They'd be like, I think I'm going to rent one because they wanted to get their hands on one and really play and have a lot of fun. And you can still do that actually on these classes. I mean, I'll be showing you how to play a little bit. But if you're really interested, we still have rentals, and we also, again, have handpans for sale. So if you want to go to our website, davisislandinstruments.com, check out what we have to offer. I think you'd be really satisfied and happy with the products we make, and you'd be happy with the instrument. All right, so this is the handpan if you haven't seen one before, or if you're still kind of unfamiliar with it. I'm just going to go over all the basics like I did with my traditional handpan class today. Going back to basics today. So they're made out of metal. Typically, they're made out of steel. We have two kinds of steel that we make handpans out of here at DIY. We make them out of, this is called regular plain steel. If you really want to get nerdy about it, it's low carbon plain steel. And the low carbon gives it like a little bit of a warmer sound rather than just like a regular steel that you might get from Home Depot. So it's low carbon plain steel. We also make an instrument here called the Aris, and the Aris is made out of stainless steel, and it's got a gold appearance to it. So it's got a top shell and a bottom shell, and the top shell traditionally has the middle note here called the ding, and then it's got the notes around the instrument here. Those are called tone field notes, and a lot of people in the handpan tradition call them tone fields. I come from the steel drum tradition because I learned how to make steel drums first, and so I called them just notes. So we decided to call them tone field notes. So these are tone field notes. The ding is in the center, tone field notes around the edge or the perimeter. These little things here in the indentations in the middle of the notes are called dimples, and a lot of people wonder, like, is this a dimple too? Because it's projecting outwards rather than inwards. Yes, it's just like it's an outie versus an innie. So you've got a dimple here, but it's just extra large and it's pointing outwards. You've got the dimples in the middle of these notes. Sometimes people wonder, why are those dimples there? And they're there basically to control the sound a bit. A steel drum is tuned very similarly to a hand, but steel drums typically don't have the dimple. And steel drums have a bright sound, and handpans tend to have a little bit of a mellower sound. So the dimple helps to control the sound and give it a little bit of a mellower, meditative sound. And that's why they're there. When you're playing the instrument, let me just talk about the scale. So the scale on top, the middle note is a D, and we call this the D minor scale. Specifically, what we call it the set scale. A lot of people in the handpan community call this scale a Celtic minor scale. So you might see that name out there in the handpan world on YouTube videos and that sort of thing. But essentially, it's the same scale. It's a D minor scale. The only note that this one is missing is a B flat to make it really a proper D minor scale. But the reason it's missing is because it kind of gives it a certain allure and a certain sound. And when you take that B flat out, it just changes a little bit. So it's just got a really great sound where you can just play kind of endlessly and still feel comfortable playing it after a while, and you don't really get bored. There's some scales out there that kind of box you into a corner because once you play times, there's not really much more you can do with it. And it doesn't lead you ahead, doesn't lead you forward. So that's one reason we really like this scale, the D minor sunset scale, that just kind of keeps leading you forward and you can keep without getting bored. So the notes here, you can count them or you can give them note names. So I'm just going to count them first. We usually count them here at DII starting on the middle note, the ding note. And if I put it here, I'm going to I'll do it like this. So facing you as if you were playing it. There's the big one in the middle. We call it number 1. And then we have number 2, which is the A. Number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you'll notice that it kind of goes in a crisscross pattern. And the way that works when you're playing it is really helpful because it ends up being like a alternating hands way of playing the instrument. So like this. So that means I don't have to cross my hands over in order to play the scale. So it's really helpful the way it's laid out. There are different scales. Sometimes handpans will have different scales. Like I said, we predominantly make the sunset scale here at DII, even on the RS and the different options we have. We did that because it's helpful, especially for people out there like yourself who are interested in getting involved with handpan. Sometimes if you get a scale that's totally different than the others, then you can't play along with anybody, and it's kind of mysterious and more difficult to kind of get started. So especially also when we have classes, people really enjoy playing together, and so it's a really great together experience. And so if we all have the same scales, it really helps along with the class and teaching and that sort of thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, notes are all tuned. So all of these notes are tuned with a hammer and an electronic device called a strobo tuner. And basically, you can see most of these notes kind of have an oval shape to them, or an ellipse shape. So each note has basically 3 pitches that are tuned specifically to it. The one on the bottom is called the fundamental pitch. There's an octave that's tuned through the length of the note, and that's called an octave. So those have the same name. So it would be like a D fundamental, a D octave, and then through the width of the instrument, or for the note, we have a 5th tuned, and it's got a bit of a higher sound. So here's the, I think this is an F, and then the octave, it's got like a higher, wispier sound, and then the 5th is way up there. So you can kind of see it also on the ding note. When you play it like that, there's a thing called a pitch bend, and a lot of people really like learning how to do this pitch bend. And it's something that people have seen on videos before, where the player puts a hand in a specific spot on the note, and then they strike it. You hear that? Kind of dips. I call it a pitch bend. Basically, you're just muting the octave, and then you're activating the 5th on the right-hand side with your right hand. And then with the left hand, you're in a very specific spot, by the way. Some beginners have a hard time with it because they don't know exactly where to touch it to get this to work. But you push down on the metal, kind of forcefully, and then let go. And when you let go, the metal relaxes, and so it changes the pitch. So we call that a pitch bend. You can't quite do that on the other notes because the other notes are smaller, which means that the metal is more rigid. The note that's in the middle is pretty big, and so it flexes more. You can actually push down and kind of watch the metal flex. So that's why it works on the ding note. So that's called a pitch bend. All right, so we talked about the notes. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on this handpan, we call it an 8-note sunset scale. On our RS model, we call it a 9-note sunset scale because it has one more note on top, which is a high C. And then we also have different handpans that have notes on the bottom. And so what we've been doing is we've just been increasing the numbers that we use with the amount of notes that are in the instrument to give that label to each of the series of handpans. So we've got, this is called our satin model. It's got a satin finish to it, and it usually does not have any bottom notes on it. It's like a traditional handpan with 8 notes on top. Then we've got a Clarity model, which we now call the Luna Clarity 11 because it has 3 notes on the bottom. So there's 8 on top plus 3 equals 11. So Luna Clarity 11, and we'll have the RS, which has traditionally 9 notes on top. So it's just the traditional RS 9 is what we call it. And then we also have an RS that has 3 notes on the bottom, so we call that one the RS 12. So you can see with handpans, everything's kind of new, and even the handpan makers like myself are exploring new ideas and coming up with new trends and that sort of thing. So for those of you who are beginners or a little bit confused about handpan still, don't worry, because even myself, I'm a little confused about what's going on there in the handpan world, because it's not just me that's coming up with new ideas. There's all sorts of tuners that are coming up with new ideas every day. And so everybody's watching each other and watching the new developments, and it's a really exciting position to be in, and a place to be in history as well. But it can be confusing for the beginners because they don't really know what's up or down. So just give you right now, I give you a quick synopsis of what handpans are and how they're made and how they're tuned. And so let me get you started a little bit now on how to play. So one of the biggest questions when when somebody gets interested in handpan initially is they walk up to it and they want to play it. But not everybody really understands how to strike the instrument to get that sound that everyone adores. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'm just going to get you started and show you the basics of how to get that tone and how to get the sounds out of the instrument that you would like. So frequently, what I do is I use just my index finger as my primary playing finger. So I like to play the ding notes and all the other notes pretty much with my index finger. Sometimes I'll use my thumbs, not so much in a scale form like this, but you can. But frequently I will play this note and this note together. And so I'm using two fingers at that point. I'm using my thumb and my index finger to play the A and the D. And similarly on the other side, I'll use my thumb and my index finger to play two notes there. So that's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that with my two hands and my multiple fingers there. Some people are more comfortable playing with their middle finger. Some people want to play with two fingers, that sort of thing. I've seen people play with almost their whole hand. So all of those options are available. I prefer the sound of just the one finger striking the notes rather than a full hand. A full hand, sometimes you get a little pitty-pat kind of sound. That sound along with the sound of the note. So it's to me, it's not quite the optimal sound. So I like to use the one finger. And I do strike it right in the middle of that dimpled area. So a lot of people wonder, do you aim for that dimple when you strike it? And to some degree, yes, I sort of do. It's kind of become unconscious, and I don't really think about it every time I strike the note, but that is kind of where I strike the note, where you get the fullest, biggest, boldest sound out of the note. If I want to strike and make any of the other harmonics sound more deliberately, then I will hit a spot on the note. So I will not hit in the middle. If I want to get an octave sound, I hit on the length of the note right towards the edge. You get that upper octave there. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. It's up there, right? So you just get a different sound out of the note. If I want to get the fifth, like I said before, you can strike the fifth on the width of the note, and you get that fifth sound. So another thing you can do with that is you can mute. If you want to get these to sound a little bit more cleanly, you can mute the center. So I just lightly touch the center of that note. And then I strike the very edge of the note where the fifth is tuned, or the octave. You can see how you can hear those a little bit more purely that way. There's also a fun little technique that you can use where you mute the center of the note with your ring finger, and then you strike the fifth area with your index finger, which is kind of a fun technique because you can move along like that and create these cool sounds out of the instrument. So that'll learn. But if you're a beginner, don't move too fast. A technique that's actually taken me probably to kind of feel a little bit comfortable with. It takes a lot of playing and a lot of practice to really get some of these feels and these techniques down to where you feel comfortable playing with them. The index finger, when you're just starting, it doesn't take too long to get started, but I would say give yourself maybe a month to play, especially if you have never really drummed or done any drumming before. I know guitar players, even though they might be great musicians on guitar, or piano players, sometimes they have a little bit of a hard time striking the notes and getting that perfect sound just because it's an unfamiliar movement. And for those of you who might not have played any instruments before in your life, it just might be just unfamiliar. So you just need to make sure that you allow yourself time, and you need to just breathe. Just breathe while you're playing, relax and enjoy, and just enjoy the experience. And try not to play too fast, or try not to be like the best player out the gate, like within a week or whatever. Just enjoy the sound that you're getting out of the instrument. And if you have success with a certain note or two, play those and just enjoy those notes, and then stretch your wings a little bit, or a few other notes, or a few other techniques like using the two fingers, that sort of thing. So when I'm striking each note, by the way, let's going back to the index finger. If you want to strike it with just the one hand or the one finger, like I said, I kind of aim for the center. And my hand is to some degree a little bit flat, and I fall with gravity. So gravity is kind of pulling my hand down. And then as soon as my finger strikes the note, you have to come off of that note almost immediately. let's just say immediately. You need to come off of that note immediately. If you let it sit on that note, even for like a half a second, it's going to mute it like that, and you're not going to get the nice full sound out of that note. So you want to make sure your finger strikes the note and then comes off of the note immediately. Now, some people curl their fingers a little bit like this. So you see the curled finger effect. And sometimes people grab at the notes like this. So that grabbing action, I would say, is not always the best action to create sound out of the instrument. So if you do, I mean, you might want to create your own technique about that. I've seen some people kind of do it like that. And so they kind of grab at the notes like this. But to me, it creates a little bit of a lighter sound. It's not as full, which is fine if that's what you want, right? So a lot of these techniques, you can use them effectively if that's the effect that you want. But in general, for just general playing, I tend to like to have more of a flat finger. And it just flops down on that note, strikes it, immediately comes off. And that's you can also imagine like pulling the sound out of the note rather than pushing your hand into the note. So rather than pushing your hand into the note, imagine striking it and pulling away. And I'm overdoing it right now by moving my hand away from the instrument. But I can just imagine the same thing just when I do like this. Even though my hand is staying right next to the note, still feel like I just hold it just a little bit. To get started, if I was in a class here together with you and there was 10 people in a little semicircle around me, one of the first things I do is I have people play the ding note. We just do 8 strikes per hand, and it's just kind of getting you started with learning how to strike the instrument and how to get the sound out of it and learning how to breathe while you practice. All right, so let's try this really quick. So we're just going to go 8 on the right hand, 8 on the left hand, and I'll show you how the exercise goes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you just go back and forth like that. Now I'm actually going a little bit fast. I think with a class, I would go slower than this. So maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because you have to remember, as a beginner, this motion might be foreign. It might be something you haven't practiced before. So you need to give yourself a chance to feel the motion, get success, hear the note, how it responds to your hand striking it. All of that is processing in your brain at the same time. So you want to give yourself a chance to allow it all to sink in. So don't go too fast. Another thing, like I said, don't forget to breathe. My little sign here. Just breathe. Anyway, so while you're playing this, you can just go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can just count to yourself. You can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, or however is comfortable. But it becomes a very meditative experience if you breathe and play at the same time. All right, so that's one quick exercise you can do as a beginner to get started. The second thing you could do is just expand on that same idea a little bit. So you got experience playing on the ding note, then you might want to get some experience playing on some of the notes, the tone field notes around the edge. So do the exact same exercise, but 8 right hand, which is the D over here, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, number 4. And you're going to play number 5, which is the E on your left hand. And you would just play the same exercise, but like this. And it kind of gives it a little bit more musical sound now because you're playing 2 different notes. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then back to the right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back to the left. And then you can breathe. Relax. And just enjoy the sound. right, so those are some very easy beginning exercises you can do to get the feel of playing the instrument. After you play those notes for a while and you get the, I don't know, comfortable with the way it feels, and once you start getting a good tone, you can start expanding on different things. Things you could do is just playing a scale from the lowest note to the highest note on the handpan. So the lowest sounding note is the D and the ding in the middle. And then as we counted up before, remember I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That also basically takes the notes from low to high. And then you can play from high to low. You just go backwards, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's really easy on this handpan to learn how to play a scale because you just basically count the notes up and down. And I believe there's a chart on your screen right now. You can see where those notes are listed on the chart. So let's just practice that. I always start on my left hand. If I start on my left hand, everything moves really evenly and nicely all the way up to the right hand ending on the high A. So if you start on your left hand, it goes left, and then number 2 is your right. Number 3 is your left. Number 4 is your right. Number 5 is your left. Number 6 is your right. Number 7 is your left. Number 8 is your right. So it looks like this. Right, so that is your basic scale, basic D minor or sunset scale, handpan scale. So that's typically something else I would do with a class, is I would just kind of teach them that beginning scale. And then after we do that, then we start from the high and we go low. So we're going to start on our right hand this time on that number 8 note, which is an A. And we're going to go backwards. So 8, 7 on the left, 6 on the right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can make an exercise out of that. You can go up and then back down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause for a second. Starting on your right hand, the same hand you ended on, you're going to start and you're going to go back down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's a really simple exercise. You can speed it up and get better and better at it. There's another way you could play that too, and it's just instead of repeating that top note, the 8th note, the A, instead of playing it first scale with your right and then pausing and then starting over again on your right, you can just play it once and it's going to sound like this. So you're going to go up and then immediately back down. So that way it kind of goes up, rises and falls like the waves of an ocean. And you could just play that over and over again. Even just playing that scale over and over again is very meditative. You can, again, like I said before, just breathe when you're playing it. If you want to make it a little bit more exciting, you can play it softly, or you could play it loudly, or gradually get loud, soft, and back and forth. You can also change the tempo, meaning you can play it from fast to slow, or slow to fast. There you go. So you're just taking a simple scale and you're doing all sorts of fun stuff with it to make it a little bit more exciting. And it's interesting when you start changing the tempo and you start changing the volume, it all of a sudden magically starts to sound like music. So even though you're just playing like a very bland, normal scale, just kind of just mundane scale, as soon as you give it some life with the volume changing and with the tempo changing, wow, it starts to become magical a little bit. So explore those ideas. It's a lot of fun. So there's another thing I just like to teach the beginners. It's a rhythmic exercise that people often frequently see people playing rhythms on YouTube videos of people playing handpan. And they frequently use the metal that's between the notes. So the metal between the notes is called the interstitial metal. Basically means the metal between, the in-between metal. So there's note here, note here, note here, and then there's metal between those notes. So you're going to find that metal between the notes, and you're going to smack it with one of your fingers. I prefer my middle finger when I'm doing this for some reason rather than my index finger. It just feels right. Some people use their whole hand, but typically I've seen most people strike it with a single finger, either index finger or middle finger, something like that. Some people play it over to the edge, the interstitial metal between the notes over on the edge. I've even seen people play it on the bottom shell, like that. But just find a place on the shell where it doesn't really make a lot of sound. It just kind of gives it a snap or a clicking sound. I would say a snap. Let's make it a snap. And it kind of is familiar like a snare drum on a drum set, like in pop music, when you hear the drum set playing. The ding note is going to be used as the bass note, kind of like a bass drum is on a drum set in pop music. So we're going to play it like something like this. So we're going to go left, right, left, left, right. So that's going to be our basic rhythm. So let me back up just a second. When you're making that snapping sound on the interstitial metal, it's almost the opposite action that I was teaching you before about how to strike a handpan note. So when I was telling you about how to strike a handpan note, I was saying strike it and come off of it immediately, right? And pull the sound out of it. This action is almost the opposite. You want to put your finger on the metal and kind of just stay there. And you're kind of forcing that sound into that spot and just making it snap. If you take your finger off, it does make a snapping sound also, but it might not be as forceful or it might not just be as forceful or as strong. So that is what you're going to try to do there. Make that snapping sound with that finger. So let's go back to the exercise. This is called the Austin Funk rhythm. And we go left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right. It's a really great introductory rhythm to play. Most people get it and feel successful with it. And you'll notice that right now I'm talking and playing at the same time. So I always tell people this is a really good one to start with because when you get your first gig at the coffee shop, it's my favorite joke of all time. You get your first gig at the coffee shop, you can welcome people as they enter into the store. And you can say hello to them while you're playing, and it's all sorts of fun. You can tell them put money into your tip jar too. All right, so this is the first half of the exercise. So we do it three times in a row. I think we stop on the fourth. So 1, 2, 3, stop on number 4, stop. Okay, right after that, we're going to do like a little bit of a motif between the beginning and the end of the song, or the little motif. All right, and that's going to be like this. It's going to go left, right, from C to D, C to D. So practice that really quick. If you want to find the C to D, it's 1, 2, 3, number 3, going to 4. So it's going to go notes 3, 4, 3, 4, which on the Sunset model handpan, it's left, right, left, right. So it's going to sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, left, right, left, right. So after you play that, then you're going to go back to the beginning of the little rhythm. So we're going to go back to the top. 1, 2, 3, stop, rest, left, right, beginning. And this is what we call the Austin Funk. First time I taught this to somebody, I was in Austin, Texas, and that's how the name came about. So you can speed it up as you get better. You can also introduce like little rhythms between the notes. progress, you can get better and better at simple rhythms like that, and kind of just add little filling ideas, and it's all sorts of fun. So you can also start using different notes, like say that little motif at the end. You can use two notes. So you can see how you can explore different ideas. So you've got the rhythm, and you have like a little bit of a riff or a little motif that you can play with. So that's a really great one to start with because it gets you started on the rhythm, so that you're playing scales now. You can learn how to play individual notes. You can play meditatively. You can play with rhythm and have all sorts of fun with the intro. These are just some basic ideas to get you started with the handpan. We're going to be basically, this is going to be the end of my little class today. But I want to let you know, if you want to explore more and learn more about the intricacies of what I was just describing, we have a subscription membership coming up for handpan classes. And we've already made a handful of video lessons for people like yourself who are interested in learning how to play handpan to engage in. So we're going to be announcing that pretty soon. So like I said before, like us on Facebook and join our newsletter. Go to our website and join the newsletter. And you're going to get information on when these lessons are available. And I'm looking forward to seeing how people engage with them, and hopefully they can be very successful. And we're going to continue making more and more lessons, expanding on ideas and showing more of the intricacies of how the handpan is played, play music on the handpan. So that's our lesson for today. Daniel, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, Dave. How are you?
Hey, Daniel. Awesome. Do you have anything to follow up with, Daniel? Is there anything I missed today?
I don't think so. I think we're good to go. Papa, it's just, December is upon us, holiday season. We're kind of busy. You're doing your thing. We have a lot of clients coming in. Yeah. And
yeah, actually, that's a good point. So since Christmas is coming up pretty quick, if anybody wants to buy a handpan and it needs to be shipped,
oh yeah,
you're gonna need to buy it pretty quick because shipping might take a week. So maybe a little bit longer during the Christmas season. You never know. So if you're interested in buying a handpan, log in quick. We've got great customer service. You go to our website. We've got a chat button. You can find our phone number. You can find our email address on the homepage, davesislandinstruments.com. Just check in with us. Daniel will either answer your email personally or chat with you, or Carrie might be in the background as well. So check in with us. Let us know what you're thinking about. We'd love to get you an instrument before Christmas. Other than that, we're going to keep making them. That's what we do here. So even after Christmas, say you're ready to get something for yourself after Christmas, let us know. January is always a great time to just dig in and learn something new, because the holidays are over and now it's all about yourself and you can just relax and enjoy. Yeah. So anyway, that's just
good quarantine. It's a good quarantine instrument. So that's what everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can totally quarantine with these things and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, that's amazing. So cool. Yeah. That's all I got. You want to leave them with a little something, Dave?
Sure, I'll leave them with a little something.
All right, sounds good. Let me give you the screen. Boom, boom. Get rid of this, and you are good to go, Dave.
All right. Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.